The longer that I'm a priest, honestly, really the longer I'm just alive, the more and more I'm convinced that the best way to grow is through suffering. It's through pain. Now, is that the way I would like it to be? No. I would much rather it not be that way. But it just seems more and more that's the way it is. We see it in nature, like how are diamonds made? Through pressure. How, we prune certain plants, which is in a sense like a sort of like damaging to them, but it allows them to actually flourish and to grow and bear more fruit. Gold is refined in a fire that those impurities have to be burned away. I just got off of a retreat, literally just got back today, and we actually asked like these 38 high school kids to like give up their phones for 4 days. They weren't really wild about it. I know, you're all very surprised. And some of them like just give their phones to us and say, look, like it's too much temptation, take it. But some of them just keep it in their rooms and they just use it only as an alarm clock, but they're really great in listening to it. And they're really nervous when it starts, every single time. They're like, this is not going to go well. And inevitably, by the end of the retreat, they say, Father, this is amazing. Like to just be disconnected, to not worry about what's going on back home, to not be distracted, but just to live in the here and now. Like one of the kids said, Father, it was like so nice. Like I just got to like hear the wind up against the trees. I got to hear the birds chirping. It's like stuff like I always have my AirPods in. I'm always looking down at my phone. I never noticed these things. It was so nice to experience nature or to engage in conversations with each other. And then to be able to hear God speak in a way that I haven't heard it before. Like it was just so amazing. That here they are making this seemingly small sacrifice, no phone for 3-4 days, and yet it had really incredibly powerful spiritual effects. That suffering, that loss, leads to growth. My friends, that's why we fast. That's why we abstain. That's why we give stuff up during Lent. Not just because we've always done it, not just because it's just some kind of nice tradition that we do. We do it because it helps us to grow. That by saying no to ourselves right here and right now, it actually can make us more patient with each other. That we're practicing not getting our way intentionally. So that when we don't get our way, when it's outside of our power, we're better able to handle it. We practice saying no now to something that we want, something that we desire, so that we don't just indulge in everything that we want, so that when temptation comes along and it's something that we want but it's not actually good for us, we're strengthened to actually say no to it. We say no to things as a form of suffering, to offer it up as a prayer for someone that we love, or maybe even offering it up as a prayer for someone that we're finding very difficult to love in the moment, so that someone else may benefit from it. My friends, the whole idea of don't give up something for Lent, do something good for Lent, quite honestly, I think is bad spiritual advice. Why not just do both? Why not do something good for Lent? Sure, that's awesome. We should be doing good. We should be going out of our way to do good for others. But we shouldn't give up giving things up for Lent either. We need to practice denying ourselves because we live in a society that has everything like at our fingertips. I can just like get on my phone, get on Amazon and get something delivered right away. I can get groceries delivered to my door. I don't even have to walk across the street to do it, you know? Like we're so used to having everything at our fingertips, we don't hear the word no a lot. And I know that for me, since I don't hear the word no a lot, I think it's stunted my growth. And I imagine I'm not the only one. That if I heard no a little more, I could grow a lot more. I'd be a lot stronger against temptation than I currently am. And that's what we heard in the gospel today. I don't think we realize just how powerful this gospel is. We hear Jesus getting tempted in the desert, which should encourage us. Because like, if Jesus isn't so holy that he is avoiding temptation, then okay, I don't feel so bad that I'm tempted either. But Jesus conquered temptation, and we're tempted to think, well, yeah, he's God and I'm not. So that explains a lot. But remember, Jesus has two natures. He's human and divine. And when he conquered the evil one here, he's not using his divine nature. He's not saying, hey, I'm God, Satan, get out of here. I'm way more powerful than you. Instead, he's conquering him through his human nature, a human nature that we have as well. In a sense, he's like tying both of his arms behind his back. He's making himself weak, and yet still conquers him. How? Through fasting, through prayer, and through total dependence on the Father. That he's showing us that it is possible to resist temptation. That it is possible to get out of that sin that is just grabbed onto us in such a powerful way. Is it from our own power? No. But if we can fast, if we can pray, if we can rely on the Father, we too can be freed from sin. We too can resist temptation. St. Ignatius of Loyola has one of my favorite lines. He says, when you're tempted, pray, fast, and give alms. Because if the devil's temptation causes you to grow in holiness, he'll have a reason to leave you alone. When you're tempted, pray, fast, and give alms. Because if the devil's temptation causes you to grow in holiness, he'll have a reason to leave you alone. My friends, today we're being reminded, we're being challenged to say no. To say no to ourselves. To not indulge in every whim that we have. And as painful as that is, it's actually what allows God to cause such an incredible and beautiful growth in us. And so my challenge for you and my challenge for myself is, if you haven't thought of something to sacrifice during Lent, that this is the day that we start. What's one way that we can say no to ourselves during this Lenten season? And if we do have things that we've given up for Lent, then let's renew that desire. Let us renew that intention, that it's not just on autopilot, it's not just because we do it every year, but it's for a purpose. It's to grow in holiness, it's to grow in self-denial, it's to grow in discipline, it's to say no to ourselves. If we can do that, then it really will be a fruitful Lent.